That feels nice. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to another episode of How Did We Get Here? I'm your host, Jay Carter, and the man is always heard and never ever seen, Skeens.
What up, peoples? What up?
Welcome back, y'all. Welcome back again. Better Than Your Average is the channel and the movement. How Did We Get Here is the show. We want to send y'all love, peace, and blessings. Thank y'all for tuning in. Thank you for the dope, amazing reception that we've gotten in the infancy of the show. It's greatly appreciated, man. We do love y'all, man. And in the age of the Rona, again, we send our prayers and thoughts and prayers of healing, health, and prosperity to you and your family and your loved ones, man. And again, how did we get here? We got two cousins like brothers that are talking any and everything in the process. How did we get here? But if you hear some wonderful background noise, it's because we got another dope, awesome guest. And time and words would fail to tell the relationship that I have with this man on the phone. And to keep it short, long story less long, is I met this young man when we were both in, that pivotal place in life, coming kind of fresh out of high school. Me not so fresh, but I was a little bit older than him, and him fresh from high school and starting college. And just in that place where you're learning life and experiencing things. And this dude, it was all, our spirits, and it was a perfect link and a perfect match. He was 17 years old, getting ready to be 18. I was reflecting today. That was like August. So that September, that month later, basically, he was turning 18, and I was already 20 years old. And, shout out to him. He just had a birthday on September 11th. And so this is truly, truly, truly one of my best friends in the whole entire world. I was blessed enough to be best man in his wedding. His daughter is my goddaughter. And this is somebody that I could truly count on to hold me down. We have that bond, that relationship between all aspects and facets of our family, moms and dads, wives, children, all of that. So, again, this is definitely, this is a guy that I could call at any time if I needed it. If he got it, I got it. If I got it, he got it. So without any further ado, my little bro, Dominick Todisco, a.k.a. Nixon Blaze. Welcome to the show, brother.
What's up, brother? What's going on, man?
So, man, I just want to, again, man, just as we try to do, give people they chicken while they can eat it, give them their roses while they can smell them, man. And, this is nothing that I haven't conveyed to you privately, in our one-on-one conversations. But one thing that he and I often do when we get off the phones, like, love you, man, and not on, this is a dude that I truly love from the bottom of my heart. And we've been through a lot, seen a lot, again, seen each other be broke with nothing to, making the evolution in life, have, buying houses, having kids, being married. We've seen each other through that whole thing. So, anyway, bro, I appreciate you taking the time and coming on the show with me and Skeens, man. But I love you, man.
Oh, yeah, man. Love you guys, too, man. My brother Mario, my brother Jay, man. I don't know where I'd be without y'all. So,
yes,
everything you said, that's all reflected back at you, too, man.
Most definitely. So, you heard me refer to him as Nix on Blaze because, this dude, he's also one of the reasons that we became so close when we were going to CTC. Is I had just at the time started listening to this group called Slum Village. And, being somebody in Texas, I would listen to a lot of quote unquote East Coast music that other dudes weren't listening to. And I meet this 17-year-old dude. He's like, oh, Slum Village, and we just again, instantly meshed. And then I found out that he can rap. And one of the classic moments when we would sit in the caf at CTC between classes is there would be freestyling that would happen. And I remember one day somebody, it was like something that you would see on TV, and nowadays it would be viral. But this dude, they were picking words out of the different textbooks, science books and all that. And this dude was freestyling it in context. And it just blew my mind. I always joke with him that my two favorite rappers are Jay-Z and him. So
yeah, man, that's some crazy praise.
So anyway, man, I just want to introduce our audience too. We're gonna get into a little topic here shortly, man. But kind of give us a short intro on kind of where you come from, and kind of your upbringing and things that got you to this point now. But more so, just kind of where you come from, your origin story, so to speak.
Yeah. So same similar experiences to you. Dad served in the military. Did a lot of traveling with him. Family comes from New York City. Majority of my family's still in New York City. So spent a lot of my young years between wherever my father's duty stations were in New York. So that of course that New York influence is very strong and played a big role in the way I viewed the world in general.
Mm-hmm.
But the military life gave me stability that a lot of my other family members didn't have. So I could appreciate that quality,
mm-hmm.
that the military provided for us.
Yep.
Just kind of an observer. Spent a lot of my young years watching other people and seeing how they moved,
mm-hmm.
and picking pieces and parts of the things that I thought were special and trying to implement them into my being.
Yeah.
But just overall, just a different cat, man.
Right.
And grateful for all of those varied influences I had, because it gave me a different viewpoint that I think it's been a blessing.
Yeah, indeed. Now, another thing that we had in common was that we grew up as like the only children in the house, and I think that was another level.
Oh, yeah.
That we had commonality on, and having parents that were very, very about us, you know what I mean? And very loving towards us, and, even coming into your space and meeting your parents, they took me in and loved on me the same way, you know what I mean? So, shout out to moms and pops on that.
And vice versa, man. I love your family. I always said that's a strong influence on how I move now, in my current state of life.
Right.
With the way your parents loved each other and loved on everybody that you ever brought in that house.
Mm-hmm.
So, for sure. And in regards to my parents, they came from a broken situation.
Right.
And they made the best of it, the best they knew how.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm eternally grateful to them for their sacrifice and doing that, because they allowed me an opportunity to take it to the next level with my family, which is where I'm at now.
Right.
But I don't even know. I couldn't put into words what meeting y'all did for me.
Right.
When I was a 17-year-old, just getting ready to try to make my way and being wide open. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Indeed. Because you just turned 36, correct?
Yes, sir.
36. So, Skeens, think about how long we have known this dude, man.
Crazy.
It's crazy. Again,
over half his life.
Over half of this dude's life.
Yeah, man.
So it's just crazy, y'all.
It went by fast, bro. It
did.
Real fast, man.
It did. And to see my man in position now, you guys, he's a locomotive engineer. He's won awards literally with the railroad. And just to see the way that he takes care of his family. And one thing, I always tell you guys that I was one of the guys that was considered more straight-laced, square, so to speak, in many ways. Nicky, as we call him, Nicky was my partner in, we were oddballs, and so to speak. We were around certain cats, but it was certain ways that we kind of cut off when other people was moving and doing certain things. He was my partner in being straight. We was the guys that was making sure when we did go out, our friends that was partaking in certain things, we was the guys making sure everybody was good and, all that kind of stuff like that, man. Now, I thought it was key that you were saying is that, your parents came from broken situations, and I'm sure that played its role in positive and negative ways in your upbringing. Now, like they say, the saying goes, you learn two things from people: what to do and what not to do. What were some of those things that maybe you said you were going to amend when you raised your family, and what are some of those things that you decided to keep and implement as a father and a husband?
Okay. Well, I guess to answer, I would probably start from the aspect of father and husband, because that guides, what I do with my family.
Right.
My father is a enigma. I love my father greatly, and I believe that he's done more good than he's done bad in his life.
Right. Absolutely.
And I think when it comes to him, I always respected his charisma, how he carried himself.
Yep. Smooth brother.
Himself
smooth brother.
Very clean. He believed that the presentation was extremely important.
Right.
And that if you show pride in yourself, then that would get you a whole lot farther in life, just on its own merits. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That being said, that characteristic is also a double-edged sword when it comes to the swag with the ladies. You know what I'm saying?
Right, I got you.
My dad had a lot of abandonment things going on when he was a youth that were directly connected to his mother.
Right.
I think those things led to the degradation of how he looked at his relationships with women, and caused a lot of issues for him in his adult life, including with my mother. So, with that being said, I watched a lot of the infidelities, I guess, that come along with not being completely committed to your spouse, and I saw the effect it could have on that opposite person.
Right.
So as I was growing, I was always putting it in the back of my mind, like, when I marry somebody, I'm going to make sure and do the best that I can to not fall into the trap of committing infidelities, because not only is it going to affect my spouse, but it can indirectly affect the child I have with that spouse,
Right.
And since I was the child in that particular relationship, I saw and felt the impact of that a lot, especially because, like you said, I was the only one. There was no brothers and sisters there to help me process, some of this adult stuff that was going on that I was already being confronted with before I understood what it was.
Yeah.
So that was a big thing as far as coming up when I was younger.
Right.
That I didn't want to bring into my relationship.
Right.
But on the other side of it, my dad is extremely compassionate and very caring for others.
Absolutely.
And very willing to give of himself. So those qualities, always appealed to me.
Now,
and I try to implement those into my life as well.
Now, one thing, because like you said, you are kind of in a place, you're guys, another thing about Nicky is I play as, he's my favorite rapper, and he's one of the most, not adding any gas to this. He's just one of the smartest dudes I know. If we wanted to learn about something, you could give this dude the book on it, and he will come back within the next few days and tell you the entire history, the origin, why this is like this, why this is like that, and da-da-da-da-da. So I think in you having the mind that was sharp like that, and maybe seeing some of those dynamics between your mom and your dad, you were kind of forced to grow up early, while it wasn't under the same circumstances that some people have, where there's this kind of absenteeism of the parents. You had both parents there, but because of the dynamic between them two and kind of navigating, and I think in many ways being the balance in the household, a lot of it came from you that forced you to have to grow up and mature early. That's why you seem so mature beyond your years at only 17 years old when we met. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I lost you for a quick minute there. I heard you say mature beyond your years, and then it went into a digital sound.
Well, yeah, I was just saying it caused you to be, because of those elements that you were kind of the balance between, you know, your mother and your father in many ways. And like you said,
Yeah,
what you were seeing, it caused you to have to mature early in that aspect.
Oh yeah, I agree. And you know, I had did some research since you want to reference my ability to read books and stuff. And
y'all see, I'm not lying.
said, you know, nah, but you know, they had mentioned in the book that you know sometimes children get parentalized in situations where the parents lack certain guidances. You know what I'm saying? And definitely, my parents, like I said, they did the best they could with limited resources. You know, and with without a lot of mentors. You know, they didn't come from an environment where people really valued what it meant to be married and raise children together, and to do it in a way that was a positive environment. You know what I'm saying? Like it just wasn't what they grew up with. So a lot of what they did regarding me was off the cuff, you know, and just something where they was just basically freestyling and doing the human thing. Like, this is what we think is the best for this child, but it may or may not be to his benefit in the long run. They don't know all of that because they didn't come from that, you know?
Yeah, it's what we talk about, frame of reference.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. I mean, it's all in context, you know, and I guess, you know, I do feel like God puts, or he imbues people with certain abilities and skills in order to navigate their own particular situations. You know what I'm saying? So when I was birthed into that circumstance with those two specific people, I was given certain skill sets to help navigate their situation, and also the situation that I would be growing up in myself, you know. And you know, sometimes I feel like it's the curse, and sometimes I felt like I was very grateful that I was given some insights at a young age that carried me until adulthood, you know. And but yeah, it's definitely I don't know, man, you know, a defining element of how I move and think.
Yeah,
Nikki,
you know, was created off of their relationship, you know, and the things that made them who they are.
Indeed.
Got a quick question.
So hold on, let's see.
Being thrust in that position of having to be the balance or the cog to keep the family kind of aligned, did that cause any resentment within you?
So Skeens was saying, do you felt like because you were, again, in this position of being the balance, being the cog that keeps the family together, having to kind of mature early and handle things maybe that the average kid that age wasn't dealing with, did you ever have any resentment issues that you dealt with in there?
Nah, not at all. And that's what I'm coming back to with the skills and the insulation, right? So God gives you certain abilities to handle certain circumstances, and then he also provides you that insulation.
Right.
You know what I mean? So there was times where maybe on the outside looking in, people would be like, "Oh, that kid got it rough. You know, he shouldn't be that mature. He shouldn't be going through that kind of situation." But on the other side of it, where I was at, I was okay.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, because I was already being protected and sheltered.
Right.
And it was from something greater than me. You know what I mean? Like,
indeed.
And like I'm telling you, there's nothing for me to resent because I recognized and I was aware of what they came from. And because of that, I could appreciate what they were attempting to do.
Right.
You know, So even though they were falling short in certain areas, I still could appreciate the value of what they had already done and addressed as far as shortcomings in their life.
Right. And I think it's two things that I think about when I was talking to my pops about, his frame of reference coming up and being married to my mom and only 17 years old. And he was like, Jay, when we were coming up, black dudes in the South, there were a lot of homes where there wasn't a father. And he was like, there weren't the fathers and guys that were around. They weren't like pulling you to the side and giving you game. You know what I mean? It was kind of like during that time, it was the dad worked. He may have worked a factory type of job or something like that. He kind of came home that one time, they had that situation once a week, or when he get paid, he gives the lady the money to take care of the family. And then he goes down to the local bar or whatever and kicks it and does his own thing, And my dad was talking about how he, again, from the example of my grandmother and how devoted she was to the family, even though he didn't have male figures really outside of his brothers, that's how he made the decision of how to move with me and my brother and my sisters. And then number two, I was just looking at an illustration from a pastor named Pastor Furtick, right? Steve Furtick. Mm-hmm. And he gave the example how, like, how they say, the saying is that God will never put more on you than you can bear. But as Nikki is saying right now, God will never ask more of you than he hasn't already given you, right? So the illustration that he gave is that before he started the service, he had given his son his wallet, and I think he had like $200+ in the wallet. And he told his son before service, just hold this for me. So then when his son comes on stage, he asks for the $200+ and he's, because it's already available to you, you have it. You know what I'm saying? So when he looked into the wallet, everything he needed was already there. And that's kind of what you're talking about. Whatever you already needed to sustain in that situation, to be as mature as you were, was all things that God had put in you. And so that's all you were pulling from and calling upon, was those things that God had already put in you to be and to do, and that's real dope, man.
Yeah.
So
yeah, no doubt, man.
So to fast forward just a little bit, you had a few, relationships and things like that I was there for, stuff like that. But to go all the way forward, you and your beautiful wife, my sister, his wife is named Liz. Is I always joke with him, y'all. He wanted to be like me so much. He got a girl named the same name. But y'all been married how long now?
We've been married going on 11 years.
11 years. So you guys, me and my Liz have been together total longer, but he's actually been married longer than me. And, to show again how mature he was. He had his crib before me and all that stuff. You know what I mean? So salute to Nikki on that. Now, you're in this, devoted relationship to your wife. And is there, y'all, I feel like you guys, and I think you would agree, are in a very mature space in your marriage right now. What kind of things did you guys, being a young married couple, what kind of challenges did you guys personally have, and how did you guys learn to kind of navigate those things coming from these two places of difference as far as how relationships should go? How did y'all navigate those challenges early on?
Man, a lot of arguments. And definitely had our knockdown, drag out argument. You know
right.
What I'm saying? But I think from the jump, it was a relationship that was built to weather storms. You know what I'm saying? Like,
indeed.
We both came into it with the intention and mentality that this was a long-lasting thing.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like there were definitely impurities that needed to be tempered,
mm-hmm.
and that stuff that takes time, And I always look at it like you forging a fine piece of steel. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't expect it to come out perfect without putting it in some flames
mm-hmm.
and giving it the proper time and care in order to refine those impurities up out of it. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's the same thing with a relationship when you bring in two people from two completely different ends of the world. Because my wife is from the country with a huge family that's ever present and there, you know, and that's not something that I came up with. Like when I thought of family, I thought mom, dad, and that was it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
The rest of my family was absent for the most part, or very seldomly seen.
Yeah, and because they were a lot of it is because of distance too. You know what I mean? They were all the way on the other side of the country.
Yeah, but also because of bad decision making.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
yes, sir.
To be honest, and that was something that I didn't want to continue into that relationship that I started with my wife, was that my decisions would prevent me from being a part of my family's lives. And that was outside of just my wife and kids. That was family in general, that we didn't have that structure. You know, and I don't know if that's something that comes from the society that is created in New York City in general, and how many different people have come from different places in the world, and, you know, the whole practice of make as many kids can and bounce kind of thing, you know what I'm saying? But it's not a good cultural upbringing that teaches you to respect and love and cherish and build up your family.
Right.
So that's just not something I knew. And my wife, she had that. So where I was lacking in that department, she was strong in that department, you know. And where I was self-sufficient, I'd say I kind of balanced her in that department, because I was accustomed to not really having nobody around to help me out.
Right.
So she kind of leaned on me in that respect, and I kind of leaned on her in learning how to embrace a bigger family. But yeah, man, going back to the original question, like, yeah, we definitely had problems. I'd say that, you know, we were already committed to the relationship and making it work, and we understood and that, you know, we needed to communicate, and that's a skill that we were both not great at. I could communicate in a lot of other ways,
right?
Like, you know, when I'm talking to my friends, or I'm talking to my moms and my dad, you know, but when I'm talking to my partner, that's a different type of communication in general.
Right, because
so I had to learn that too, you know.
Yeah, and I want you to go a little bit deeper on that, but I think one thing is I found, and I think we all of us find us out there in relationships, is often we find ourselves able to communicate with our friends, and a lot of times females be like, man, I can talk to my homeboy a certain way, I can't talk to my husband, because the reason being is that when you're communicating with a friend or a homegirl or a homeboy, that communication is free. And in your relationship, depending on what you say and how you say it, that communication has a cost. And oftentimes we're trying to measure if we're willing to pay the price.
So it can be a payoff, or it can be costly.
Absolutely. You know what I'm saying? So that's the thing that you're navigating in the relationship, is how to navigate these costly conversations and communications that we're having. I think now, what would you say between you and Liz, Nikki? What was the I always looked at you as a great communicator. So for me, even right now, it's intriguing to see that you found in your relationship that you weren't as great, because you are, again, me and you and Skeens and Kuma and whoever else would have these really great conversations and stuff like that. And oh, by the way, this dude is an MC of the highest order, you know, what you would call a very lyrical, thoughtful, well-spoken MC, but still in the challenges that we have, he found issue in communicating with his significant other. You know, that's the nuance of life. You know what I'm saying? So how did you navigate that? And I felt like sometimes your wife was more, or Liz was more kind of closed in with her communication, but maybe not. I don't know.
Oh no, yeah, no. Early on, man, she didn't want to talk about nothing,
Okay.
and I was very like, "Come on, let's hash it out. What did I do wrong? What's the issue? Why you got to frown? You know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
asking 1,000 questions.
Right.
Uh, when she was just accustomed to processing things internally
Mm-hmm.
and not really expressing it until much later date when I had forgotten that something had went down,
Right. Similar
and
to
then
my wife, how she used to be.
it would become a whole new well of things that I
Right.
had to unpack
Mm-hmm.
on different layers because it wasn't necessarily the original problem that caused this whole situation
Mm-hmm.
this day later. You know what I'm saying? So I had early on I had to understand that she's not gonna always tell me up front or right away what caused her to feel a certain way on that particular day.
Right.
You know. And when she's looking for that space, I gotta learn to find my space as well and give her time to process how she's accustomed to process.
Right.
But in regards to that, I also need her to understand that I deal with things a certain way. So
Yep.
can we find a compromise? Like I want to talk about it. I want to hash it out. I want to make sure that I understand why you felt this way so that I don't repeat that again.
Mm-hmm.
Or if I do repeat that, then you have the leverage to tell me I'm completely wrong for that because you've already expressed it to me. Hey, that's not something I can rock with. You feel me? So, um, that was a part of our learning early on. And then there was a period where I think near the middle of our tenure together, she had developed into a communicator, but she was an uncontrollable communicator. You know what I'm saying?
What do you
So
mean? What do you say that?
like it became almost a one-way conversation sometimes.
Okay.
And when I was trying to share my side of the deal, I'm dealing with somebody now who is finally opening up, but doesn't know how to allow the other party to also interject. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So there's a phase of development going on here,
Yep.
which I need to appreciate is happening, but
Yep.
I also had to recognize like, yo, this person is kind of in the rookie stages of being able to communicate, whereas I might be a veteran. I need to either take this rookie under my wing
Right.
so that we can both be on the same playing field, and now this team can elevate, or I can shun this rookie and mistreat this rookie, and now we both failing as a team because we ain't on the same level. You feel me?
Right.
Yep.
Indeed.
So that was a skill that I had to watch her develop and allow her to develop without trying to always step on top of that. And I still, we still go through it occasionally.
Uh huh.
We have our discussions, and I'm not necessarily recognizing that I'm stunting her growth. You know what I
Right.
mean? So
Right. You got to give her
sometimes I gotta
space.
step back and be like, yeah, I gotta be like, oh, you know what? She's actually trying to share with me, and although it hurts me to hear it in this way, I need to allow it to happen because this is vital to our growth together and our communication becoming that much more effective. You feel me?
Right.
So, yeah, man. I mean, the art of talking to one another is very important to maintaining a long-lasting situation, and that's in any relationship in life.
Yep.
If you don't nurture it in that way, it's gonna fail. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And
Yep.
so I definitely been attempting to always learn and refine that aspect of what we do. Because long after we are unable to walk and move, we're gonna still probably be able to talk. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
Right. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't want that part to fail us.
Yeah.
And it's important to me that my marriage lasts. So I think that's important
Yes, sir.
and vital to making that happen.
All right, Nikki, I have a question real quick. Since you was talking about nurturing,
Yeah.
let's kind of talk about the process of fathering a child that's not biologically yours,
Mm-hmm.
but not loving him any less, and being intentional with him to make sure that he sees that he's as much of a priority in your life as your other children.
And as much as his mother. Right.
Correct.
I only got a piece of what he said.
No, well, basically what he was saying, and I was thinking about, I wanted to piggyback, is that one thing I always appreciated about you is you being, me and Skeens always talk about being intentional in the things we do, being intentional in our relationships. So how did you, coming into your relationship with Liz, she had a child that was very young, but she had a child. Now, how did you navigate being intentional about your feelings and what you wanted to put in the relationship to her, but also how did you come and meet that and maybe even exceed that level of intention dealing with a son that's not necessarily biologically yours, but I mean, that's your son. You know what I mean? Because I think there's some challenges that men have when there may be a child that's not theirs and how to navigate that relationship. But you and your son have built a bond, and even by the bond that you have with him, the rest of us that were in the team have that bond with him as well. So what was that like for you starting, and what could you tell people out there that are coming into a relationship where there's a blended family, so to speak?
Yeah. I think, well, first, let me say that it couldn't be done the way it was done in my life without the support of people like you, Mario, and the group of friends that I had around me at the time that I chose to make that decision.
Right.
Because I didn't face ridicule from y'all.
Right.
And I think in our culture and society that's already a big issue. Like, people making jokes about men that take care of other men's children.
Right, exactly.
Things like that. Like, that's something that's mocked.
Yep.
And I didn't face that type of ridicule from y'all, and y'all were, to me, pretty close to the most important people I had in my life outside of, my girl and my mom's.
Yep.
At that point in time when I had y'all around. So
yep.
That in itself was vital to me being able to make the move into that situation that I did when I did it.
Yep.
But man, I think that I just always kind of been against the grain.
For sure. That's an
Really
understatement.
worried about. Yeah, but man, I was scared, bro. Like, when I met her.
That's real. That's real.
When they told me, hey, this girl, man, she's into you. She wanted to let you know, hey, she got a baby, and I said, man, I ain't gonna date no girl with no baby, dog. Like, I got a whole lot of hopes and dreams and aspirations, and I don't know how that type of situation fits into my movement. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I thought about it because I was attracted to her, and I liked how she kind of stayed to herself. I liked the fact she was real low key and she wasn't extra. I wasn't into all of that craziness, man. And she had this flair about her that spoke louder than any words or any of that stuff that I was seeing in a lot of the females that were moving around me at that time.
Right.
So there was definitely an intrigue about her that I wanted to know her at least. And even if I was just gonna know her on a friend level, it was still something I desired in my life, And I didn't know why, bro. Like, I didn't know what the purpose was for her coming into my life at that point in time. I didn't think that I was particularly ready to be nobody's father.
Right.
And I didn't even believe that I had the skills to do it.
Right.
Because in regards to that, I think, again, how God prepares you for your situations. I think when you do physically create a life with someone, that there's a small little vault in your heart or something that is unlocked. And it allows you to have those parental skills accessible now. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So it's just something I see like as a visual in my mind. Like, once you've created this life with this person, now you opened up a new dimension inside yourself that allows you to have an innate ability to take care of that child. You
Mhm.
just need to want to tap that.
Yep.
But if you come into a situation where there's already a child there and you didn't actually create that child with that person, you have to learn those skills. You
Right.
have to develop them um, from the ground up. You
Mhm.
know what I mean? So when I looked at it with her and me coming together, I said, man, I don't know that I can do this because I don't want to have to. If I'm gonna be involved with you and your son because he is a part of this situation, I need to come at it 100%.
Right.
You know. So initially we talked, hung out, we kind of got a little bit serious kind of
Mhm.
quickly, and then I was having a whole lot of butterflies. Like I was
Right.
like, man, it's just like my nerves was getting the best of me every time I would even think about meeting the child. Like, man,
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm gonna do. The dude was only 5 months old,
Yep.
and that's my son. He's Roman. His name's Roman,
Yep.
and at the time he was 5 months old. So he
Yes,
was a little
sir.
twas with drool dribbling down his cheeks,
Yes. And he hated
and
me, y'all. He loves me now, but he hated me.
yeah, he was a little frightened, bro. A little intimidated, but it was just very, very scary, man. Like that was a situation that I had no understanding of. I knew about babies, but my mom had a daycare, and she always had little babies around, so I knew about the process of feeding and changing them. But as far as like actually being a parent to a child, that's something I have no skills with.
Yep.
Yeah. And you talking about, not only the unknown is this girl the one for me, is the person I want to spend my life with, but also now, do I have what it takes to provide for the child that she has? Because that comes along with this deal, you know. And I had to think about it, man.
Mhm.
So we had kind of moved fast, and then I came to a point in my head where I was like, I can't do this. This
Right.
ain't the right move for me. I need to know for sure this is right, and I kind of broke up with her,
Mhm.
and it hurt. It hurt me a lot, and I knew it hurt her. But I thought for sure, like, I can't do this without being, like I said, 100% involved and ready for this type of commitment. Because I'm not just committing to her, committing to this child. If I break up with her down the road because I don't feel ready for this, then I'm hurting not only her but that child.
Yep.
You know, and so I really took time away. I still talk to her on the phone. I missed her. I still spoke with her pretty often. Once she got over that initial uh, breakup, she was willing to at least still talk to me. So it gave me time to just deal with her on a more friendship level, which is probably where it should have started, and stayed for a while.
Yep.
But I was grateful to her for that because I could witness other parts of her that I hadn't seen in the light of like, oh, I just want to make the girl my girlfriend. Like I
Right.
was able to see it from, okay, she's a great mother. She cares about her child and she puts her child first. These are all characteristics that I wasn't seeing in a lot of girls I was dating because they didn't have babies.
Right.
And
Yep.
that's a big thing that you want to see eventually because, most people getting married and tend to have a child or two with their spouse.
Yep.
And they realize when it's way too late, like, yo, this person is extremely lacking in the department of being a good mom, or a good
Right. Yep.
father.
Indeed.
But I was able to catch an early glimpse of that and be like, all right, this woman, she takes care of her son.
Yep.
And, she ain't going to be out late with me or hanging out too late with me because she cares about being home for her son.
Yep.
And I valued that stuff, I valued that. That's something that I appreciated. I respected it. And it made me more interested in her. So slowly we developed back up some and she brought me around the child. And when I came around the man, like I felt all the nerves, but I also felt some different type of joy that I didn't expect to feel. And it was almost like, I don't know, man, a sense of accomplishment. Like, here's this little baby, and that baby has the most purest form of love
Right.
for those, for that they can that you can ever experience in life.
Yep.
There's never going to be a more pure form of love than that between a child and a parent.
Indeed.
And when I first came around him, man, he gave me that love just off the top.
Yep.
I mean, I think I was around for a couple weeks, man, and he was already, yearning for me, like putting his arms up and wanting me to hold him, and these things that I was just completely caught off guard because I had been around other babies, bro, that wouldn't even come remotely close to you. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, I don't know you.
Yep.
I'm not dealing with you, dog.
Yep.
There's no love for you because you ain't gave me a bottle yet. You know what I'm saying? And this dude, bro, like, it was just all love from the jump. And slowly my mind shifted to like, hey, I can see myself with this lady and this boy. Like, I could see it. You know what I'm saying? And then it shifted to, okay, how do I also achieve the same dreams I had already set for myself, but with them included?
Right.
And when my mindset changed to that, I was committed. You know what I'm saying? At that point, I said, yeah. Because now I'm not just thinking about how I'm going to get to where I want to get to alone. I'm thinking about how I'm going to get there with these two people, my life.
Yes, sir.
And I don't see it no other way.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And that's when I knew it was real.
Right.
And yeah, I mean, that dude made me better, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's
just
beautiful.
by offering me a hug or putting his drool on my face. You feel me? Or whatever, man. Like, that's an experience that I'll never forget, man. And when he called me dad and
yeah.
Just things like that, man. Like, you can't pay for that, bro. You can't buy that in life.
Yep. That's the real stuff in life, man. That's the real stuff. That's what it's really about. You know what I mean? And
yeah, man. Those are.
I can remember early on when you and Liz were together, and y'all that know me, my personality is that I want to bring everybody in close to me, especially if you're close to somebody that I'm close with. Come in close. And Liz was like, Jay is a little bit too much for me right now. And my little, guys, the part of me, my little ego of, I'm usually just cool with everybody. Why? But then I had it, and Nikki, us being brothers, and that's the other thing that me and Skeens talk about. Nikki, Takuma, Skeens, a couple other guys, when you're operating in mature places as men, you can, quote unquote, check each other. You can disagree, but we never have ever fallen out. We've never had an official argument in going on 20 years. Never. Ever. Because we're dealing with each other out of a place of respect and genuine love for each other. And so Nikki pulled me to the side like, basically, hey, man, you're a little too much, man. You got to back it down a little bit. I'm like, all right, got it. I'll back off a little bit. And, we're in a great space now. Nikki has, we got Roman, we got Anaya, who's my guy, baby. And then we have Gio. So, I mean, you guys have this beautiful, mature relationship that you guys are in now. And you get this great job, working for the railroad. You're to provide for your family in this great way. And as he's sitting on the phone with us right now, y'all, he's just getting off work and he works these long, crazy hours and all of this. And yet he still maintains this healthy family, which is, I just want to, all the guys out there that you feel like you may be struggling with the balance. We got an example here that you can do it. But it does come with struggles and things. And, oh, by the way, this guy is also a creative. He loves literature. He loves to write. He has notepads and thoughts and all these things. So how have you, I know you've had some challenges at times balancing work, family, husband, dad, and then also I got this other creative side of me that I'm kind of putting on hold, but now it's coming out. What has helped you to kind of balance those things for people that maybe even not necessarily, you might not necessarily be an artist as far as musically, but it could be that other business venture that you want to get into, or it could just be those things that you need to kind of find that you need that alone time. Or for me, it's going out and riding my bike, or whatever it is, or working out, whatever your thing is. Give something to us, Nikki, on how you can kind of balance all of those things, or how you've chosen and found best to balance it.
Um, I think, well, sure, if you're in a relationship, you need to listen to your spouse or your partner when they call out for you,
Mm-hmm.
because they will let you know when they're lacking. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? And so, because as a person who grew up an only child, I have the ability to go within myself
Yes,
and
sir.
withdraw.
We
And
only children guys can go
yeah, we
into a
do this.
place of just, and a lot of people, I think too, Nikki, because again, we have this in common. When you're people that can be lively and do all these things, for you, it was, performing and rapping and doing that. For me, it was performing arts, doing theater, improv. But there's also a side of me that can go alone and stay there and be perfectly
Right,
fine.
right, and it's almost if you're not from that situation, you don't get it. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like, if you're on the outside looking in, you just think, oh, this dude is depressed. Or this dude is completely unhappy. But really, it's just like, yo, I'm just in my shell right now, man.
Right.
Like, I'm doing what I do, which is like how I process things.
Right.
But
Exactly.
the development in the relationship would tell me, like, man, that isn't always a healthy way to interact with a partner. You feel me?
Right.
So um, I've had to learn to hear her, dog. When she calls me, and she's like, there's little signs. It might be, a slam cabinet door or something. And I'll be like, hey, what's going on? You know what I'm
That's the
saying? Like,
second plate that broke
man,
today. Hold on, that's a sign.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Why you beating up the vacuum like that? You know what I mean? Like, well, now I gotta consider, like, okay, am I not doing enough right now for this particular person
Hmm.
to meet their needs? You know
Right.
what I'm saying? I'll always hit it 100%, man. But I think when it comes to like balance aspect, you gotta be intentional, bro,
Yes,
and you
sir.
gotta really you got to prioritize what's important to you, And when I set the stage to get involved with my wife and become a father,
Yep.
I understood that my priority shifted from Dominick the rapper,
Hmm.
Dominick the DJ, Dominick the dancer, Dominick the everything that I was trying to do, to Dominick the husband and father,
Right. Right.
and those two titles were preeminent to me and what I need to focus on.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So if I lacked in one of those two departments, uh, I couldn't willfully go do all the other stuff that I used to enjoy doing and feel good about it.
Right.
Because part of me is failing in the two most important aspects. You know,
Hmm.
uh, which I left out. My relationship with God. That
Absolutely.
that that is the guidance to how I was moving in the other two. Like I said, relationships, being a father and a husband. Um, but I think you have to know within yourself what it is you really want to accomplish in life. And
Hmm.
for me, yeah, I want to provide a good life, but I want to also provide um, long lasting mental uh, changes that break the cycles that my family prior to me came up with. You know what I'm saying? So
Indeed.
if I'm aware of those issues, so I can visualize what was the failures up into the point that I came into existence, and yet don't attempt to address them in my life, then I'm no better than the people that came before me.
Absolutely.
Um, you know, so my thing is, I'm aware of it. I know what it is that affected us, and I want to change that. So I put effort into the things that I want to see change.
Yeah.
and that means being a present father, faithful and um, compassionate husband,
Yep.
and just
Mm.
being a
That's a
good
great
person,
word.
dog. Like,
That's a great word for husbands out there. Compassion. And compassion is
well,
not a
yeah,
sign of weakness. Yeah.
nah, without a doubt, man. And I
Yeah.
think that's the other thing, with breaking cycles, bro. We've been raised in our cultural communities to essentially put ourselves first,
Uh-huh. Yep.
you know. And I get it, I get a lot of us come from communities that have lacked and are impoverished,
Mm-hmm.
and that's a survival thing,
Yep.
but it's also a degradation of what a family should be. You
Indeed.
know what I'm saying? Family should be about sacrifice
Mm-hmm.
and a communal growth. You know what I'm saying? It ain't the whole situation moving forward. Then it ain't gonna last, man. You can't make it by yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I think that's just a timeless issue that we confront regularly. Is that coming up? They forget or they don't care about where they came from, or to attempt to add some sort of substance to that area, and eventually, bro, they don't go far.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Mm-hmm. And I
I,
think
and
some of what you're talking about, a couple things that it triggered in my mind is as men that we're trying to be examples of, the examples that we're trying to exude to people out here again, is that the Dominicks of the world, in my little way, the Jay Carters of the world, and a whole host of other people, is that men that are dedicated to their wives and their family, that's the new wave. That's what we own. That's the new look as far as guys that are providing for their families, men that are compassionate, men that are intentional about their love and their commitment to their wives. As my guy Eric always said, Jay, if something goes wrong between you and Liz, it's not just you and Liz that it impacts. It impacts
yeah,
you two. It impacts the kids that are involved. It impacts your family units that have come together. And then what hit home for me is he was like, because there's a lot of young men that I deal with and mentor. He was like, those young men that look up to you are impacted as well. You know what I mean? And I think you
oh yeah,
realized that
by
a
far,
long time ago. And, that's key. And like you said, it's all
man.
about
Yeah,
balance. It's all about balance, guys.
no,
There's never, ever going to be a perfect situation. Me and Skeens were talking about a couple episodes. Is there such thing as having it all? No. But we're in a place of balancing these two imperfect people to do the greater good for the family now and for the generations that we don't want to see, that we're not going to see,
yeah,
excuse me. And then to piggyback off my boy Kai, and that was a dope episode if you haven't watched it, with Kai Phoenix. He was like, we're not always going to be able to give money and land and houses. We're going to try to learn and do our best to do that. But
right,
we take what was given to us and make it better. And no by the way, we pass on to the generations to come how we think and how we moved in situations. You know what I mean? That's a part of the
yeah,
legacy that we also pass on, is how we move when certain things happen. How did my grandfather think about that? What did he do when he was in
yeah,
that situation? So they stand on our shoulders in that way. In thinking is one of the most key ways in the way of thinking, so that they don't have to go back into those footsteps, so to have those pitfalls that we had. And that's what you're doing. In all of our parents had things that, and we have things that, Trey and Jason have things from me. Your kids have from you things they're going to learn what to do and what not to do. You know what I mean? We try to limit the what not to do's, but a part of the human experience is that some of it is a crapshoot. It's an experiment.
yeah,
It's not a perfect science
no,
to any of the relationships that we're in right now. but with honesty and communication and the being able to be transparent with one another. I think I was just sharing with Skeens in the last episode that was one of the parts with me where as I grew in my level of transparency and being able to be vulnerable with Liz, that opened up our intimacy. And another thing that did it, like you said, man, is when, guys, for y'all that don't know, Liz having Trey, she had complications and stuff like that. And there was a time in the delivery room where I felt like I'm just in this helpless position. You know what I'm saying? And a part of it too was, and another transparent moment for me is I had to admit to myself is that my ego was huge. You know what I mean? My ego was huge. I learned it there. And then I learned it even when we unexpectedly were pregnant with Jason, because I try to live my life very structured. I move a certain way. I keep a certain company. I'm a certain kind of guy. There's certain variables that I remove from my life. And when we got pregnant with Jason, and actually I was talking to your wife, we were visiting you guys in San Antonio, and me evaluating my thoughts. I was like, yo, this unexpected child, I'm going through the stages of grief. I literally am. And your Liz told me, Jay, that's really a thing. And I was like, oh, it really is. She's like, yeah, that's like a thing, having an unexpected baby. But for me, I was talking to the Lord about it. And I'm like, man, again, my manness is thinking money and the size of the house. And I'm thinking all of these things. And God is like, the fact that you in the position that you're in anyway, fool, it ain't been you. It's been me. Just like this is me. And again, like you were talking about, Nikki, I'm not going to require something from you that you don't have. Jay, it's in you, son. It's in you. You can do it. And once I took a deep breath, and here we are. Jason is getting ready to turn a year old October 14th, and everything is cool. But I went through that moment where I had to check my ego. I really did. I really had to check my ego all the way out, man. You know what I'm saying?
I believe it, brother. Oh, yeah. I mean, definitely, we imperfect beings, brother. That's the first thing we got to recognize. We definitely ain't going to address nothing in a perfect way.
Right.
And hence and so forth, we need grace, But
there you go.
Yeah, man, it's eternally growing, dog, and being open minded to the fact that you can learn from people around you, especially your significant other.
Mm-hmm.
And finding some time to embrace that, because I know in my shell I miss some of those cues sometimes,
Right.
And it'll take a little outpouring of emotion or something for me to actually register, like, yo, I'm lacking right now in this department. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, this is a very important portion of what I'm trying to accomplish in life, and I need to address that, And so,
indeed. So,
yeah, man, just willful execution, brother.
There you go, willful execution. Now let's switch gears a little bit, man. We about hour in, so
wow.
It happens like that. This guy over here, it happens like that. But check this out. So, Nikki, guys, again, has been rapping for a while. He kind of put some of it on the back burner. He has some music that was out, but now I'm putting it out there that we are, and Skeens has been trying to virtually A&R project, and sending him music all the time and getting on his nerves. But we're putting it out. Nixon Blaze is going to put out an EP. Yes.
Yeah, it's coming.
Okay. It's coming. It's coming.
Yeah, it's gonna come.
It's coming. So what have you thought about the thought and the theme of the album? Or are you just kind of I know you've been experimenting with some creativity that you kind of have, you're trying to unleash some of that stuff that you maybe wouldn't before. You know what I mean, guys? We always mess with Nikki because he's super duper lyrical. and he was always gonna rap about how whack other rappers were. And now he's experimenting, guys. He's sending me tracks where he's doing stuff. And one thing he was really good at, I'm halfway decent singer. I was just the most decent singer around. I'm all right. So I was singing a couple hooks and stuff. And I always used to like him to do like songs for females, but he hated doing that because that's against his code. Really, he's done a few of them. But now to see him, and y'all, he produces as well. He's a DJ. He produces beats from scratch. You know what I mean? And he's sending me, and all of us are like night owls, so we're sending each other work in the middle of the night. And I'm listening to these songs and these beats now, and y'all, he's on there like, yeah, that's right. I'm like, who is this? Who is this Teddy Riley? I didn't know my friend was Teddy Riley.
No, bro, come on, man.
I think I called him Todisco Riley or something like that. I can't remember. But so tell me about this new process that you in, man.
Oh man, so it just, when I was young, I was creating with an intention of other people enjoying what I was doing. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that adds a weight to what you're trying to do artistically, because you're now considering what you might think other people want to hear.
Yep.
And that may or may not be what you want to actually create.
Right.
And that can stifle your movement, it can stifle your growth, it can stifle your creativity in general. So, I had that period, and like you said, I ended up, married with children, and had a career come up that took me away from that creative process for a long time, to where whenever I did have the opportunity to create, there was really no guidelines to what I was doing per se. It's just like, just put some stuff down. Because for me, writing rhymes or lyrics or whatever was the most fluid way I knew how to express myself from a very young age. And there was a time in my life where I kind of lost that essentially. So as I've aged and I've found a different balance in my life where I'm not interested in as many things, like 18, 19, I was still hooping. I was still trying to go out and holler at girls. I was still trying to kick it with all the homies. I was still trying to hook up my whip. Yep. I had a million different interests, the college thing, all this stuff was popping off. So, I couldn't devote myself to one thing in particular. Whereas now, I ain't got all them interests like that no more.
Right.
I still have a few of them. I'm always going to be musically motivated and inclined, but it's not like it's vying with, getting out there and hooping with the homies or kicking it every other day. Or, what I'm saying? Like, all of those other things are gone. So,
yep.
There's a much more open space for me to just sit down and just be me. Also, I'm not influenced by the same groups I was influenced by at a different time in my life. Like now, right. I just make stuff I like, and if it's on somebody's wavelength, then great. You know what I'm saying? And if not, it's right. Cool. It wasn't for them in the first place. It was just for me to allow something natural to come out of me. And to also alleviate some of that tension that builds up inside your mind. And like we all have our ways. Like you executed, with the storytelling or with the acting, and you get it out there, and that helps you to lighten up some of that weight that you carry.
Yep. And
that's how I use the music. You know what I'm saying? Like I allow myself to lighten my load through my music. And now it's just back to the kind of pure essence of what it was before I ever got to a place where like, oh, you could be a rapper. Oh, you could definitely do this. Like
right.
Before I knew all of that, man, it was just pure for me. It was just love for the music. It was just love for the art of moving words around and trying to do things that I didn't hear other people do.
Right.
And where I'm at again, and I'm a lot older now, man. I ain't definitely ain't gonna meet or reach the same crowds I was attempting to reach back in that era, So
hey, we in the adult, Charlemagne calls we in adult contemporary hip hop lane right now.
Yeah, we definitely different, bro. We definitely ain't on no radio wavelengths. You know what I'm saying?
No.
And I don't think I could hit that lane if I tried my hardest, man. Like,
Right.
it's just not what I was created to do. You know,
Yep.
and that's cool, and I recognize that.
Hmm.
And like I say, I just try to do it the way that I know how, and to the best of that particular capability. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I know you did just do a track for, I don't, is there a title for that track that you did for that other EP?
So it's called Honest.
Okay.
And it's on. It's well, actually, the EP isn't officially out yet.
Right.
They
I know they're
dropped
still
a
working
single
on it.
off
Okay.
of there.
Okay.
No Catchphrase and
Mhm.
Maximilian, and that's available on all of those streaming websites that I'm
Okay.
aware of.
All right. Shout out to them.
Um,
Shout out to them.
oh yeah, super dope, man. Very very talented cats. The dude, No Catchphrase, I know from Houston.
Hmm.
Uh, Worked with a lot of dope underground, soul, neo soul type cats, and it's all up in the lane that we mess with. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
then Maximilian is actually from Sweden, and he's also a very talented producer and worked with a lot of dope rappers, man. Blue, Planet Asia, cats that we all listen to, check
Mhm.
for. So it was kind of cool, man. It was a real strange, uh, situation. I was just asked off the cuff to do like one verse, and then it turned into a whole song.
Yep.
I'm just like, man, what's really going on? But hey, it's cool. It'd be something that my kids can go find, And another thing, bro, I ain't gonna be going by Nixon Blade no more, man.
What?
Yeah, nah, bro. I think that name is. I've outgrown that. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. So you just
I'm
going
just gonna be
going by my
just
namesake,
Dominick,
or?
just Dominic, bro. Yeah, that's it.
Okay. I'm with it. Okay.
Yeah, that was a different era. So
Okay. All right. No more Nixon.
yeah.
I mean, we'll probably still say it
Yeah,
behind
no,
closed
it's all
doors,
good.
but
Yeah, it's all good. Yeah, definitely. I mean, I just think where I'm at now, they don't really match up.
I got you. I can't lie. I love when it's be up Nixon on the track. I just
Yeah. I throw it in there every now and then for the point, but it ain't gonna be the call symbol no more. Yeah.
So I'm gonna put some pressure on you in front of the audience. Are we saying this is a fall project, a winter project that's gonna be your EP when it'll be released, or what? Hey, you
No.
making me already think there was a Talib track, and he was like talking. He's like, people keep asking when the album gonna be done. It's when it's finished, muff.
Yeah. Nah, but I've been telling you, I was gonna call it joint the 88-year mixtape because it took me forever to even complete this. You know what I'm saying? But
Right.
I think that I don't know if the stars are aligning per se, but there's a lot of things kind of coming together at the same time
Yeah.
that seem to be saying like, yo, you can do it, you can get it done,
Yeah.
and again, that's just. It's another thing I got to be intentional about. I've been wanting to put an EP together or some sort of long playing, album for my about my kids. Really, man, I want them to know what I felt and thought,
There
at
you
certain
go.
states in my life, and put it together in a cohesive package.
Yeah.
And
That's legacy, man.
so that's been the motivation here lately. It's like, yo, just if you was to leave tomorrow, would you leave them a piece of your art? That
Yeah,
they
that's
could get
dope.
a nice glimpse of who you were and how you thought, And since, like I said, my most fluid version of thinking, I feel comes out in those lyrics. That's something I wanted to do for them,
Yep.
So I'm definitely motivated by that. I definitely am motivated by the fact that my children are starting to come of the age where they understand what I'm trying to say.
Yep.
So there's a lot of things, man, pushing me in that direction. Fall is right now, so I don't know if it's gonna be done.
I strategically
right now,
said that.
unless we talk about next fall. You feel me?
Nah.
Maybe next fall. Nah, but nah. I mean, I think I could do it with something in a few months, but
Okay.
I'm just gonna have to really buckle down and
Okay.
I need support. You feel me? I need
You already know we
feedback
got you on that. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Me and Skeens were talking
and
about,
then
man, we got to make, we keep talking about it, but since we're saying this in front of the folk, we got to get some time where we can devote to being in the stew like we used to. You know what I'm saying? Now, it may,
yeah.
I don't know if it's like a
I
couple
need Mario to
days.
come up out the shadows, man. Mario, you can't find that man, dog. I gotta watch these episodes to even hear his voice these days, man. That
The
man, the
wizard.
king is sending me to the voicemail, dog.
That's the Wizard of
Okay,
Oz,
what?
man. The great
I'll be
and
ready to cut his
powerful
voice.
Oz.
Look,
Whippersnapper.
bro, I'll be ready to cuss his voicemail out, dog. But they could be cool. You know what I'm saying?
So, next time we have you on, man, hopefully we'll be able to play some music. You think that'll be cool?
Oh yeah, man. I mean,
I think that'll be dope, man.
sure.
You know what I mean? Kind of do like
Without
a
a doubt.
little exclusive with us, here at the How Did We Get Here show. You know what I'm saying? We on that level now, man. But anyway, my dude, I appreciate you, man.
Yeah.
And as you're talking about, man, with legacy, even in this show, this is a part of it. So the kids and the generations can come to see how we thought, our stance on certain topics and issues. And, they have something tangible that they can go back. Hey, that was Uncle Dominick. That was God Dad.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Blah, 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 blah. So this is what this all about, man. It's all a part of the legacy and trying to just leave our mark out here, man. And I appreciate you taking the time and coming on, man. We definitely have you back. We want to have some music. Maybe if the album isn't complete, we can have a couple tracks to play, please, sir. Because I done already set the bar high and said that you're my favorite rapper next to Jay-Z. So some folks that haven't heard you gonna want to hear, what it's all about. You know what I'm saying? So
A lot of pressure, bro. A lot of pressure, man.
y'all, for years I've told this dude my dream is to get him on Sway and have him go up there and do the 5 Fingers of Death. Cause he can freestyle like that. We ain't gonna do it today, but he can freestyle like that. Even when he's out of freestyle shape, he always has that in the tuck. So
Oh, man.
anyway, my brother, any parting thoughts, man, for the people?
Oh man, look, bro. I just hold each other up. You know what I'm saying? This
Most
is a
definitely.
rough time, and try to find positivity in things that you wouldn't technically look for, man. You know what I'm saying? And make that a purpose that you attempt to do with effort every day in life, because there's a whole lot of cloudy situations out here right now.
Indeed.
And secondly, man, I appreciate you, brother. Thank you for, giving me some time with you.
No doubt. I love you, man.
I love y'all, completely, man, and with my whole heart. And I'm proud of you, brothers.
Yes,
I'm
sir.
grateful that y'all are a part of my life, and like I said, man, have given me the support without the ridicule that is so common amongst our people, bro. So
Yeah.
that's big, and that's a essential part to my growth as a man. So much love, man.
Indeed. Again, y'all, we told y'all we have dope people that we know in real life. This is another one. So signing off, I'm your boy Jay Carter. For the boy Skeens, that's
Yes, sir.
always heard and never seen.
Love you, little bro.
The Wizard.
I love you too, big dog.
It's another episode of How Did We Get Here? We'll see y'all next time.